Be here to the death of our digital privacy and imminent demise. So now, yes, that was a very dramatic introduction, but it does help me segue into the reason why we even need home servers. Let me actually take it back and explain to you exactly what a home server is. A server is a computer or computer program meant to manage hardware or software on a digital network. Okay then, so now excusing the what, let's go into the who and why, as in who actually needs a home server and why should they need it. To my answer being, everyone actually needs a home server, mostly because, here's the why, you can just store your own data yourself or host your own VPN server and actually have access to all of your devices, or better yet, stream your own movies like it's Netflix and only buy physical copies that you actually own rather than paying a subscription fee to Disney Plus and just having the same dreaded rotation of this may or may not even be available in your country. So yeah, if there's any reason, there's a reason. Okay, now to be clear, in this video I will not be going over exactly how to do all the things I said, such as media server, cloud server, VPN server, whatever. I will just be setting up the framework for what you actually need to do the things in this video, i.e. choosing a most likely unused laptop or desktop. If it is a laptop, please remove the battery. Those things do in fact expand after a while of being plugged in constantly. And if you plan on running this as a server, it might be best just to keep it plugged in constantly. But besides that, that's really all the main things that you have to do, although there is recommended hardware that I do think that you should use, such as a good fast-ish CPU and at the very least 4 to 8 gigs of RAM minimum, bare minimum. Maximum is pretty much whatever you want, but still. And if you do in fact want to make a file server or some sort of media server that holds data, either have expandability for more storage or just start with a lot of storage and then scale it to however you need. So I'm using a virtual machine here to start and demonstrate the installation process of the software that we're using, which is Debian. That's it. It's Debian 12 Linux server software, that's to be specific. Now, the main problem with this method for me recording is that you guys only get to see the full flashing image installation process, which is just using something like Balena Etcher to flash Debian Linux onto your USB drive and then inserting that, booting up right into it and installing properly. But assuming you already know this from my last video, then this should be pretty simple. Now that the virtual machine is running, we're going through the main installation process of installing Debian to the machine that we're going to host our servers on. Now, the main thing we do is just go through the entire installation process, which is pretty self-explained. You go through the language, the region, and wait for it to load forever depending on what exactly you're using. Now, it does have a few other caveats as to what passwords, users, and all that, but just use whatever defaults that you'd like to use, and then you can always change them later. Don't have to worry about being too secure as long as you don't have it directly open to the web immediately, but if you do, make sure that you take the proper precautions and use the right passwords. And don't worry about domain names, because those are just based off of your network. So if you wanted to say home, then you can do that, and it's perfectly fine. After the initial install, what you can do is select the mirror based off of your region, and then select the specified server settings that we'd like for the installation. For the installation that we'd like though for servers is server software with no desktop environment and enabling SSH, which is secure shell hosting. After some time during the installation, it will ask you for the proper drive to install it on, and then ask you to reboot your computer as soon as the installation process has properly gone through. Once this is done, you now have a computer that you can properly SSH into on your home network that also acts as your server. Congratulations, you've done it. Congratulations, you finally completed this one piece of a major project that you could be doing. What I plan on doing with it is honestly a lot, but for the most part, this is only step one, ideally. If you have any other ideas that we could do to the server, please don't be afraid to comment it down below. But now that you do have this, all you have to do to connect to it is go to your router's IP addressing, look for your server that you now created, and type in SSH, the user that you created, at the server's IP address on your home network. Then you can remotely connect to your new home server and use it however you please. If you have any more ideas or projects that you'd like to see me learn or you'd like to share with others, please leave them in the comments down below, so hopefully we can learn together.